So here we are at Devon Sessions in Barnstable, and I'm here with the lovely Dave Knight. So Dave, what are you doing here today?
Well, so I'm here to playing 4:30 to 5:30. So it's a privilege to come down. I came down last year and played. So yeah, really excited to come back and play for these guys again. So looking forward to it.
And how did you meet these guys?
How did I meet these guys? So pretty much through the music scene. So I co-run Funk Agenda in Bristol with good mate Craig Brown, and it's just one of those things. You're all in the same game, so you kind of pick up those connections, and yeah, so
it's a bit like a music orgy, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, music orgy is the best way to describe it. Yeah.
And you have a fantastic night called Funk Agenda in Bristol. So when did you start that, and how did it begin?
So it began probably about 13 years ago. So I think our 10th birthday was in the lockdown, which we actually obviously had to postpone the event. So Funk Agenda was born out of Craig Brown's ideal, and then I came on board probably 2016. I started to get back out, so I had a bit of time away from the DJ scene, and Craig asked me to come back out and play, and I got more and more involved with Funk Agenda. And then probably about 4 years ago I became a partner with Craig, so me and Craig are 50-50 in Funk Agenda now.
And oh god, what was the DJ now? I've got to try and remember. It was John Kelly.
Yeah.
Said some very lovely words about Funk Agenda on Thekla years ago, and he's playing today, isn't he? Do you know him well?
Yeah, I don't know John too well, but I know a lot of people in Bristol that know him very well. So John's one of the guys in the scene that I don't know as well, but again, a fantastic DJ. He's been around the scene a long time, and yeah, looking forward to seeing him play later.
Well, today's the day that you need to get to know him well. Get those contact numbers. Now, you're not just a DJ, you're a producer as well. You started producing quite a few tracks that are doing pretty well.
Yeah. So obviously, been a DJ for a long time. As I've already mentioned, left the scene, give up DJing because it wasn't great at the time. Didn't fit in with my life. Late nights. So
I guess it's because you've got a family.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got 3 children and a wife at home. But yeah, came back out DJing, and probably some 2 years ago decided that I'd like to make some music. So I'm quite technically minded, quite musically minded as well. So decided to start making music. So my first track to the great space legend IB for DJ John Ulysses, signed it to his Unibug record label, and then yeah, from then it's gone from strength to strength. So
well, I came to your event the other day at the New Inn. I didn't drink, I just drove there, didn't I?
Yes,
drank water for 4 hours, danced, everyone thought I was crazy, and you played that amazing track. You didn't know which one it was, but I went onto his Facebook, I stalked him, and I found it, and it's called Give You. Tell us a bit about that track and how you came up with the idea, where you came up with the idea, how it's doing, or how it did in the charts.
So Give You was, so I love my piano house. It's my roots, goes back to the 90s when I first started listening to house music. So very piano orientated. So I came up with a piano riff that was extreme, what I felt was very, very good. And actually the vocal is an old vocal actually. So it's an old vocal that's sampled. And yeah, is a fantastic track. It's currently out at the minute. It's riding high in the charts at the minute. The charts are very tough at the minute, so it's in the 20s at the minute. So based on that, I'm really happy with that, because as I said, is a really tough chart at the minute. There's a lot of big artists in that chart. So
I think there's a lot more DJs coming out of the woodwork as well since the pandemic, because everyone was DJing at home, and there's a lot more DJs on the scene now, aren't there?
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of DJs on the scene. A lot of people have gone out, as you said, in the pandemic and bought decks and things like that, and had a go at it. But I think when you start to produce music, so I guess in the last year, I've produced and signed or released well over 30 tracks now. I've had some massive successes.
Well, one of them was Mysteryland, because that was, how long was that in the top 10 for, Dave?
So it spent 6 weeks in the top 10. It peaked at number 3, and again in a really tough chart, and spent 8 weeks in a chart, which in today's market is a massive achievement.
I'm really pleased for you, because you're a nice guy and you're very talented, and I've been sharing and caring like a little share care bear, haven't I? A little share care bear. So what's the next goal for you now?
So for me, so the winter's coming, so early dark nights. We'll get in the studio, make some more tracks. Got some really exciting things coming up. Some exclusive remixes of some huge tracks. I can't say anything more than that at this point, but they will come out. So I'm exclusively signed to Cleveland City, which currently at the minute they're the 6th biggest house label in the world at the minute. And the support I receive from those guys is unbelievable. So we'll continue to make music and hopefully like it, sign it, and we just keep pushing on, and we use past successes and failures, because not every track's been a success, but you learn from that, and you develop as an artist.
Definitely. And I just got to ask one thing: how long is the longest you stayed in a dark studio creating a track like non-stop?
I guess probably 10 hours. But I think the thing I've learned through producing is that you need to. I work much better on short stints. Some people will lock themselves in a studio and go around and around and around in circles, and sometimes that works for people, but for me it doesn't. So I like to do short stints, but often. So I'll be working on a track. I might hit a bit of a dead end with it. I'll leave it, go away, and then all of a sudden something will pop into my head, and I do. And generally, the most frustrating thing is when I'm led in bed at night. So any producer or DJ knows that sometimes music can stimulate you, and especially if you've had a bit of time in the studio, you find it very difficult to sleep at night. And generally, those are the best times. So I generally just grab my phone off the side and make a note of my thoughts, and then go back to the studio the next day and implement that into my track.
Do you know, my dad's a songwriter, and he's been one since he was 17. He's now 79, and he does exactly the same. When he's like having a bath, he's in there old school, pen and paper, comes up with an idea, and there he is. So
I think the thing is with producing music is when you go in the studio, it's your conscious mind. Yeah, and sometimes your best ideas are in your subconscious mind, the bits that you actually don't actually know that it's going on, and then all of a sudden your subconscious mind will just jump out at you into your conscious mind, and then you'll come up with this ideal, and then that's the point to go and lay down that ideal, that little thing that wasn't quite right, and those are the best times. Yeah.
That's probably the best answer I've ever had when I've asked that question. So thank you. Well, thank you very much for your time, Dave, and good luck later on DJ. I'll be there dancing with my bestie Farah. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers.